This is a video to go over the logic questions, problem set 2. The first question: if Gondorf does not do well in college, he will fail in life and will not be happy. Gondorf does not do well in college, he will fail and will not be happy. The overall structure is deductive. It is valid because it is affirming the antecedent. If A, then B, A, therefore B. Premise 1 is not necessarily true. If Gondorf does not do well in college, he will fail in life and will not be happy. So that statement doesn't have to be true. P1 is false. Therefore, it makes the entire argument unsound. So another way to explain this is that we can imagine someone not doing so well in college, let's say a college dropout. Does it mean that that person will fail in life and will not be happy? There are many instances in which those who do not do well in college or who drop out end up living very productive lives as well. Argument number 2. If there's snow in the mountains, it is winter. It is not winter. Therefore, there is no snow in the mountains. So the overall structure of this is still deductive. It is valid form, that is denying the consequent. So that would be if A, then B, not B, therefore not A. For this reason, it is a valid structure. However, it is unsound. Unsound because, in this case, conclusion is false. And the reason why the conclusion in this example is false is because this argument actually does not state the exact geographical location. Therefore, even if it is not winter, there can still be snow in certain geographical locations where the elevation is high enough to have snow year-round. For this reason, this argument is unsound. Argument number 3 is a bit tricky. If I stroll along the river under the moonlight at midnight, the ducks fly from the shore. At midnight, the ducks along the river fly from the shore above a pedestrian who is illuminated by the moonlight. Therefore, I stroll along the river under the moonlight at midnight. So the entire argument is deductive. And it is invalid because the format is affirming the consequent. So affirming the consequent, therefore also unsound. So if we break this down, this part here is A. If A, then B. And then premise 2, the ducks along the river fly from the shore. So that's B right there. Above a pedestrian who is illuminated by the moonlight. So some people can mistake this part as being A again. Does that mean that is it B then A? No, it's not. It's not a conditional statement. There is no. We don't see if this, then this. We don't see that. It's not a conditional statement. Therefore, this does not lead to this. Therefore, it's not A leads to. Pardon me. It's not B leads to A. So the only thing we're left over here is that we have affirming the consequent, and then conclusion is back to A. So for this reason, the form is affirming the consequent, which is an invalid structure. Invalid and also unsound. The conclusion doesn't necessarily follow from the premises. that above the pedestrian is not the same antecedent as premise 1. That is also say that this pedestrian is not the same as to the I who is strolling over the river. So deductive, invalid because it's affirming the consequent, also unsound. Argument number 4. If Dave eats Twinkies, he is going to be overweight. David does not eat Twinkies, therefore Dave is not overweight. The overall argument is deductive. So premise 1 is if A, then B, not A, therefore not B. This is denying the antecedent, which is an invalid form. Therefore, it is also impossible for it to be sound as well. The conclusion doesn't necessarily follow, even if the premises are true. Why? Because Dave can still be overweight even if he does not eat Twinkies, right? He can be overweight for overeating other things or for not exercising. Argument number 5, the entire argument is inductive. This is very similar to the example on the PowerPoint of that person, of Dave, laying out the conditions for a person to be an ideal girlfriend, an ideal mother, and a wonderful wife, right? So in this instance, Alexandra's last boyfriend was 1, unorganized, 2, has a hard time expressing his feelings, 3, has an unstable career, and 4, doesn't like dramatic movies like Alexandra does. So their relationship failed about 6 months later. Then she meets another person here, Anne Aximander, and Anne Aximander is also unorganized and has an unstable career. So Alexandra concludes, well, because he has 2 of these characteristics, basically 2 of the 4 characteristics of her last relationship, she basically concludes that this relationship is probably not going to work out either. For this reason, when you're making this sort of comparison, this analogy, the entire argument is inductive. By default, it is inductive. Is it a strong or weak inductive argument? It is a weak inductive argument because it's a hasty generalization. So that is to say, in the second relationship, or potential relationship, Alexandra already concluded anyone who is unorganized and has an unstable career, well, the relationship with that person is probably not going to work out. This is a hasty generalization because it potentially can work out also, right? That one can be in a relationship with a person who is unorganized and has an unstable career. It doesn't mean that being unorganized and having an unstable career lead to the downfall of the relationship. So for this reason, it is a weak inductive argument. Another reason is she's only basing all of this based upon one past argument as well. One past relationship as well, right? This is not based upon, let's say, 10 past relationships where her 10 past relationships, everyone was like this. Now, if that were the case, then it definitely would change the strength of this argument, but it's not. It's based upon only one past relationship. And the second part, all you have to do is state the fallacy here. So Robin Banks asked 10 of his co-workers whether or not they liked cafeteria food. 5 out of 10 co-workers, 50%, gave a negative response. From this study, Robin Banks concluded that 50% of the employees at his company, which has a total workforce of 10,000 employees, must also not like cafeteria food. So this is a hasty generalization. Right? It is a small sample size. He only asked 10 of his co-workers at a company of 10,000 people. The next one, lunatic, does not like Bobo's conservative philosophy. For this reason, lunatic does not think any of Bobo's arguments are as good as his. This is attack on the person. So Lou is basically attacking anyone who is a conservative simply because the other person is a conservative. So this is attack on the person or ad hominem. So these are the answers for problem set number 2. Please review these answers with your response to the problem set number 2 discussion. Make sure that you understand the correct answers for each of these in preparation for the quiz for this weekend. And if you have any questions about any of these, please send me a message right away so that I can go over any questions that you may have.